At one point of time, you were tapped to be the next Sachin Tendulkar.
I don't know whose idea it was to call me second Sachin Tendulkar because it sounds a bit absurd. That's why you call MS Dhoni a great captain, because he had feel for the game. He knew what was happening, how the game was changing. The amount of data that's available, it is incredible. You can actually plan a whole innings. Guys like Virat, I mean, he's one of those. I'm just taking a name not because of Virat Kohli, but he's one of those guys who set a benchmark. Actually, Viru used my pads when he got his debut 100 in Test cricket. So I hope Yui watches this.
Cut this portion out and just to send it.
Everyone who knows Vinod knows he snores a little bit. I'm aging a bit, so I might have forgotten.
I will be really disappointed if you don't get 6 out of 6. In cricket, he's done it all. He had a successful career playing for India. He has captained Mumbai to a Ranji Trophy title. He was a fan favourite as an analyst and a commentator, and today he is the chairman of the selectors for the Indian national team. I'm of course talking about Ajit Agarkar. But ladies and gentlemen, this is all his side job. His real expertise is hustling his friends and sledging his friends on the golf course and taking money from them. I personally have been a victim to a lot of his abuse on the golf course and have donated my share of funds to the Agarkar family. But on a serious note, if you speak to anyone who has been fortunate enough to interact and get to know Ajit, the one universal thing that everyone will say is that at the end of the day, Ajit Agarkar is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Ajit, thanks for joining me on Spotify. Pleasure to have you here. I praised you quite a bit over there.
Yeah, I mean, backhanded a little bit after telling me you have taken all your money on the golf course, which is absolutely not true. But thank you for having me.
So let me start with my first question, because today is, for those of you, I don't know when you're watching this interview, but it is being recorded on April 1st. And April 1st is an important day. It's April Fool's Day. April 1st is the first day of the financial year. But April 1st is also a very important day for you, Ajit.
Yeah, played for the first time for India. So, yeah, easy to remember. I think it's been a while, 26 years now?
26 years, yeah.
So, it's been a while. Special day. I mean, any kid growing up, that's your dream to try and, or hope that you get to play for India once. That was the day. I was lucky enough to play a few more times. So, yeah, special day. No doubt about it. Crazy game. About 50-degree heat in Kochi. So, remember it very well.
So, tell me, because this is one part that as fans of the game we don't get to see. Tell me about when you got the call. Firstly, were you expecting that, listen, I have a chance to make the team? When did you get the call? Because this is all pre-internet, right? You're not seeing a press release on Twitter and stuff like that. So how did you know? How did you find out? Where were you? Who called you firstly? And how did that whole thing happen?
I mean, that's the one thing I don't remember. I think I probably saw it in the news, if anything. And I'm sure I must have got a call from the BCCI saying that I've been picked and I've got to reach to Kochi at a so-and-so date at whenever the team. I think there was a test series before the one-day series started against Australia and Zimbabwe. It was tri-series. So the guys who were playing tests were coming straight from the third test match in Bangalore. So I just had to join, and I can't remember who called me, but it was expected a little bit. I'd had a good tour of India, tour of Pakistan before that. Then I'd come back and played. There used to be Wills Trophy at that point.
Yeah.
Played well for Mumbai. So it was expected. Didn't quite know when it'll happen, but it was expected. So it wasn't a big shock, but still, it's one of those things that you kind of are working towards most of your life. Fortunately, it happened. So it was very exciting. And I reached on time as well.
And then you made the squad. And when did you find out that you are in the playing 11? Was that Azharuddin? He was the captain then. Did he tell you that you're playing tomorrow or the day off, or how did that work?
Yeah, Anshuman Gaikwad. Anshu Bhai was the coach. Yeah. He sort of we were practicing the day before, and I mean, Anshu Bhai obviously they told me that I would play that game, and there were a few reporters. I think a little bit less than what it is today. There was no press room. I think there were about six or eight guys who were covering the game day before, who had a quick chat about how I felt. I don't remember what I answered. Zero recollection, but I know I spoke to the press
the day before the match.
The day before the match, a couple of minutes, and I remember the morning of it was a day game.
Did you sleep in the night?
we had roommates back then. You didn't have single rooms. So I shared my room with Vinod Kamli, who was sort of coming back into the team. And everyone who knows Vinod knows, he snores a little bit. So he in fact is always nice enough to tell his roommate that you guys go to sleep before me, because if it's later, you won't be able to sleep. So I think I slept okay. I was 20 at that point. I remember just driving to the ground from the hotel. People were out in their balconies, and the roads, they were full of people, and it was pretty nerve-wracking. It was excitement, but I was very nervous, and we won the toss, we batted, so I got a bit more time to sort of settle myself, but I'd never forget that day.
And then the first match you're playing, and you're bowling, you were bowling against a lineup that had Mark Waugh, Adam Gilchrist, Ricky Ponting, Michael Bevan, Steve Waugh, Darren Lehman, all those guys. And
I mean, you're watching all these guys on TV. I mean, Gilly, I think that was our first sort of interaction on a field, if you like, with Adam Gilchrist, and for a while we didn't know what had hit us. He came and smashed us to all paths. But those are the guys you grew up watching. When TV started coming into India, sort of early 90s, when World Cup in Australia and New Zealand was televised, you woke up early to watch, particularly Australian cricket early. So to then end up playing against these guys was pretty exciting. Tough. Fortunately, we had enough runs on the board, and then we had Tendulkar to go and get 5 wickets.
5 wickets. I was just going to say. Easy. Yeah. And I like the way you praised Adam Gilchrist, and then who got him out in that match?
Yeah, I mean, he was nice enough to give me my first wicket.
You took also a blinder of Srinath.
Yeah, I think I caught Mark Waugh at short fine leg.
So I'm going to take you further back, Ajit, because and a lot of people don't know this, but you basically were a batsman, and at one point of time you were tabbed to be the next Sachin Tendulkar. You had a triple century in Gyle Shield. For those of you who don't know, Gyle Shield and Harris Shield is the birthplace of almost all Mumbai cricketers. It's synonymous with Mumbai cricket. I mean, whether it was Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, all came up through that. And you had a triple century in Gyle Shield, was scoring a lot of runs in Harris Shield, and suddenly you were a bowler. So how did that whole transition happen?
Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was to call me second Sachin Tendulkar because it just sounds a bit absurd. No, we came from the same coach, Ramakant Atsrekar. I sort of changed schools in 6th grade because he said if he wants to continue playing cricket seriously, he'll have to change schools. So I made that switch, which as a 13-year-old, it was a big call, and my parents, of course, were instrumental. So that helped, and I suppose he saw me bat in the nets, and that's how he asked me to shift, and grew up being a batsman. So it was only natural. If you're doing well, anyone who was doing well and coming from Atsrekar sir's stable, then suddenly the name, because Sachin played for India when he was 16, which is a bit unreal.
Ridiculous,
and I had scored enough runs in school. Used to bowl a bit, used to swing the ball a little bit, but slow outswing at that point. And because I was captain, sometimes I used to bowl off spin when the pitch spun. But like you said, school cricket and club cricket was at the heart of what Mumbai produced, and we produced so many good players. Of course, international players, but even domestically. Yeah, it just happened. Bowling sort of just eventually happened. Maybe. I realized I could bowl a bouncer on an under-17 tour to England with India, and it was exciting to bowl a bouncer. And it just happened. Unfortunately, bowling happened at the right time, because to get into the Mumbai team at that time
would have been tough.
Yeah, probably would have been possible because of the runs that I was getting in local cricket. But to stay there wouldn't have been easy, because there were some real stalwarts at that point.
Yeah, no, it worked out. I mean, worked out for you, worked out for the country, worked out for everyone. So from your early days as a batsman, I'm going to jump straight to kind of, not really in terms of selection, but as much as how we talk about evaluating talent per se, right? Because it's so tough with the number of players that are playing today. And you have two aspects, which is obviously the physical aspect of it, which is the technique and, those kind of things, which, obviously you have an expertise to evaluate that. But then there's the other thing of work ethic, fitness, aggression, desire, etc. and stuff like that. How does one, when we have to evaluate talent, and we're talking about evaluating, 38 teams in Ranji Trophy, right? 400 plus players, right? And forget the established guys are there, but even finding those next gems, how does one go about it?
I mean, the good thing is that you have a larger number to pick from now.
Yeah.
And there is no dearth of talent in the country. It's just eventually you observe certain player. The one thing that is a big difference, and you can see it over the last 10, 15, maybe 15, 20 years or so, gradually that's progress, is the fitness levels of players. I mean, you look at guys like Virat. I mean, he's one of those, I'm just taking a name not because of Virat Kohli, but he's one of those guys who set a benchmark. And 10, 15 years into his career, he's only gotten fitter. And you can see the results. So if someone like him, sets an example, puts forward certain things that you need, or certain fitness levels that you need, gradually it's progressed. I mean, BCCI has been instrumental as well with all the academies that have happened. You learn a lot quicker. So the guys who say have 15, 16 or 14, 15 are a lot fitter than what they were, and they should be now with the amount of awareness there is, with the knowledge there is, with the facilities that are provided now. That's been a big difference. And again, people keep talking about IPL, and you can see every year it just keeps throwing players out of the blue. I mean, they're having been a selector now for a few months. I know there are certain players we've watched, but there are certain players who suddenly come and show even on a big stage. And IPL is a fairly big stage because of the pressure involved, big crowds. You might be bowling to one of the top batters in the world, or you might be facing one of the top bowlers in the world. And that's when you stand up, and sometimes that's where you judge the temperament of the player and how consistently he can do it. It's sometimes a difficult task because of the sheer numbers that we have, but eventually the more you watch players, you generally know who.
You get a sense of it.
Yeah, the difference between, and temperament sometimes separates it. I think everyone has got some amount of talent to reach a certain stage. What you do with that talent, and how good your work ethics are, and how disciplined you are, and how determined you are, maybe separates the guys who make it to the guys who are probably just as talented but don't quite make that step. But at the moment, talent is not an issue, which is always a plus as a selector.
Because actually, when you're talking about temperament, it's actually exactly is what people say, is just that's the difference, right? Because how do you respond when you get hit for a 6 and a 4 on the first 2 balls of an over, and you have 4 more balls to bowl, right? I mean, that's the difference.
And you've got to bowl those 4 balls.
Exactly.
You can't walk off.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
As a bowler, I wish sometimes you could, but no. But in all seriousness, that's the thing. It's always the next ball. It's always the next ball, and that is, some people have it naturally. Some people over time develop it. Some people take a little bit more time than others to get to a level. That is what differentiates. I mean, you look at all the top players in the world, they will always, if not always, most times stand up under pressure, and it's much easier to see it. It's if you've been around the game for a while, if you've been watching the game, following the game, it's not that difficult to do it. And then it's up to an individual. Once an opportunity is given to somebody,
you have to cash in on it.
It's up to, and we've all been there. Guys who played cricket for over the last few hundred years is the same. Once you get that opportunity, it's up to the player.
You have to cash
out of the coach's hand, or a selector's hand, or a captain's hand.
You're out.
You are in the middle. You've got to try and deliver.
You actually mentioned something very interesting. You talked about how today training has become very scientific, and you said versus when you played, artificial intelligence is taking over a lot of sports. I know, and especially data-heavy sports like baseball in the US is gone, which is a very data-heavy sport. Cricket feels like a very data-heavy sport because you have left-handed, 5 different types of bowlers who are either left-handed or right-handed, then they're over the wicket or around the wicket, and so it's just the amount of data is actually crazy. How is it? And you must have seen it already. How is it impacting just the preparation for the game, and how is it also going to impact selection eventually? Maybe not selection, but how to evaluate what the right combination is for captains.
It's incredible how much data there is available. I mean, I was with the Delhi Capitals a couple of years, and you can actually segregate anything you want, from a particular ball to a particular over to a particular batsman, how he faces, I'm talking T20 right now at least, how he faces or how many balls he faces in the first 6 overs of a power play to 7 to 11 to 11 to 15. It's incredible how much is out there. You can certainly plan and you can go really deep. I mean, we use it all the time. I mean, again, look, when it comes to selection, you still want to watch the player.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you can have all the numbers at your disposal, but if you've not watched the player, whether it's us selectors or whether it's the coach or the captain, you don't make an opinion about anyone. You want to see them play, how they are under pressure, those sorts of things. But the amount of data that's available, it is incredible. You can actually plan a whole innings, and I think all teams do it in the IPL. Everyone does it. They use data because a particular batsman, you see it every night in an IPL game, where his hitting zones are, where he's perhaps a little bit weaker. Doesn't mean it will work all the time, but at least you have a fair idea of which way to go as a team. My take is you still need a guy out there running the show. I mean, you need a captain, because not everything that you've planned is going to go your way.
Yeah.
On a particular day it might, but most days it won't. And that's where you need human instinct. And if that is not there,
and the AI formula just blows up.
Yeah, you'll lose more than you'll win. It's my opinion. Again, I might not be right, and you might tomorrow just run everything with data. But I mean, that's why there's a captain. Otherwise, you may not have a captain. You know, that's why you call MS Dhoni a great captain, because he had feel for the game. He knew what was happening, how the game was changing. It's the same with international cricket.
Yeah.
You've got the feel for the game. You've got the instinct that certain batsman, maybe we've spoken that he does a X or a Y thing.
Yeah.
At this stage in a game, but maybe he's trying to do something different. And what do I do? And that's why you need somebody there. I don't think it can be. Football's a little bit different. Manager runs the show most of the time. But with cricket, I still feel the captain's the boss. But it's very, very useful. It'll be silly to say that, there's no, let the captain run the show, because all this helps. And it's quite fascinating how accurate most times it is.
How you make that putt when there's money on the line, you make that putt on the golf course. That's
like how you smack your 4-iron 240 yards.
Not quite. So you played a lot of teams, Ajit. You played in Mumbai, you played for India, obviously, IPL, county as well, Middlesex, you played a few games. Tell me about what is it that makes a team a winning team? Right? What is the culture of a winning team? Because there's talent when it feels like in today's game, there are just X number of countries that play the sport at that high level. Seems like there's talent everywhere. And I want to talk about it because I know you're a diehard Manchester United fan, right? And the culture of the team, it wasn't just the talent during Alex
Getting into bad territory here.
Yeah, just being a bit careful. But it wasn't just the talent that was there during Alex Ferguson's time. There's a culture that the manager set for the team, which they talk about. I mean, they talk about even for today, for City or for... So what does it take for that culture to be set up, and who sets that culture up, and what is the right culture?
Tough question to answer. I mean, you look at all the great teams. I think, to me, I mean, I can maybe talk about our Mumbai team.
Yeah.
Because we sort of won a lot. We also had a good team. A lot of the guys had played for India, so the experience was there. But I can tell you, when I came into the team, the thing that sort of helped me, and I'm talking about culture, is the senior guys sort of showing us the way. Whether Manjrekar was captain at that point, there was, Amol had played a few years, Muzumdar, there was guys like Sairaj, Samir Dige, Paras, Abhi, these like Vinod, of course, Kamli, Sachin every now and then. But these guys sort of set the standard in that dressing room. Now, even when I played for India, I was fortunate enough to play with some real greats of the game, whether it's Sachin or Rahul or Anil, Viru was there, Saurav was captain at that point, Lakshman, Zach, Harbhajan, those are, I mean, all Indian greats, some all-time greats of the game.
Yeah.
We're fortunate enough, so the standard automatically sort of set, and it's only if your players buy into it. If your players all work in the same direction, can the coach or a captain then, of course they are important to drive and show the way. But it just naturally sort of set. So for Mumbai, every youngster coming into the team, so as we sort of played a little bit longer and were one of the senior guys in the team, we tried to do the same thing. Just the attitude on the field, off the field, I'm not too fussed about what guys really, as long as, it's...
You show up when it counts,
Yeah, you're disciplined enough, you work hard enough off the field, your fitness levels are good. At the end of the day, it's what you do on the field that matters. I mean, okay, you don't want to be badly behaved off the field, but
Right.
I'm saying you've got to have a life off the field as well. It's such a high pressure environment that you need your downtime, and for different people is different. Whether some people is sleeping, some people might be going and playing golf, or some people maybe a PlayStation. So
Right.
it could be anything. That to me is irrelevant.
Or probably necessary, the balance, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I've seen, though, or at least I feel, is with all these other things available now, maybe perhaps people just don't hang around enough off the field. Obviously, you have your friends in the team,
Yeah.
but just as a collective group, you don't end up doing so much. Also, they're on the road so much that maybe it doesn't give you the chance to hang. Like I've got lots of friends from the
cricket
team,
fraternity.
that I played with. I'm not sure going forward, and not because they don't want to, but sometimes you just
It just
on the
becomes
go,
too much.
on the go all the time. So, but like West Indies, 15 years they didn't lose a series. Michael Holding, I had the privilege of working with a little bit. He every time he spoke about the team and how tight they were as a group. And I think eventually Australian team, when Steve Waugh was captain, I think they won 16 or till they lost in India. I think 16.
Calcutta, was a test,
And just generally the success that they had as a team, I'm sure they were a tight knit group. I think that generally helps. You don't have to be best friends, but you want to enjoy each other's success.
Right.
If that doesn't happen, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to I mean, I've been around the World Cup right now, and I've seen how good this team was and with each other. So
it's a lot of player driven.
It has to be. It has to
right?
be.
More than management and more than.
I mean, management of course has a big role to play in a tournament like IPL, because a lot of the people get together only for that 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So sometimes there it matters a little bit more. With say international teams, you are together for 8 or 9 months, so you know each other reasonably well, or the management knows each other or each player fairly well.
India is at the start, probably just the start of a sports revolution, right? You have more kids trying out to not just cricket, football, hockey, tennis, badminton, chess is a big thing right now. And what actually in a conversation I had with Abhinav Bindra, he said that with more people and more young people trying out, you're going to get more young people who are not going to succeed at it. It's just the way statistics and management works. What advice would you give young athletes who are trying to make it in sports, create a career, to deal with failures, to deal with disappointments, and to keep persevering? Because I think that's where sometimes the young lot lose it.
Yeah, it's tough. There's no perfect advice to anyone. I think the one thing you certainly want to do is try and love what you're doing. It's a very generic sort of statement, I know, but if you don't enjoy, say, going and doing your fitness work, for example, you wake up, you've got to go at 6 o'clock, have a fitness session where the trainer's going to kill you.
Right.
But if you don't enjoy that, because eventually it's going to help you with whatever you're doing. So work ethics, to me, I think that's the first thing our coach sort of put into us. Some sports are physically demanding, the other ones are probably more mentally challenging. But at least with the physical bit, if you're physically in good shape, sometimes on a bad day, it's if you're not, it just gives you a little bit more of a push. That comes from work ethic. How do you deal with failure and success? I think if you're balanced, you don't overreact to either. I think it generally helps. And I know it's human nature and it's not easy. It's much easier to say it, but that's where your people around you matter. Is what in today's day and world even more so. It mattered to us. I think because every sport is growing commercially for the good. It matters more who you have around you. If you get the right advice, if you get the right opinion about yourself.
Actually, very important point, Ajit, because you're talking about, it's one thing dealing with failures, how do you deal with success, right? And how do you deal with that early money that a lot of these young kids are getting, and numbers that are just wild. That I'm not just talking about cricket.
No.
I'm talking about people in chess. I'm aware of certain numbers that you're like, wow, and this kid is very, very young.
No, and it's for the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope it keeps growing.
Yeah,
because I mean that's you couldn't make a career out of cricket. Today you can, and that's what your aim is. Whether it's IPL or even for playing for India.
Yeah.
You're well paid. Playing for other countries is the same thing. So all your energy can actually go into working hard and getting better as a player.
Yeah.
So that should be a big plus, and I don't think you need anything more.
Yeah. So, Ajay, I'm going to go into a little bit of a different segment now. I'm going to ask you 6 questions, which is a quiz about Ajit Agarkar. I expect you to get 6 out of 6.
I'm aging a bit, so I might have forgotten.
I will be really disappointed if you don't get 6 out of 6. I'm going to start you off with a loosener, right? So outside the house, I'm just in the zone. There are only 2 Indian bowlers who have more ODI wickets than you. Easy one. Name them.
Anil Kumble and Jawaharlal Srinath.
Correct. Number 2. So you got 1 out of 1 so far. Which batsman have you dismissed the most in ODI cricket?
I think it's either Jayasuriya or Chris Gale, one of them. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's...
Which one is it?
Could be Jayasuriya.
You're right.
Could be Jayasuriya actually.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think so. I mean, I was lucky enough to get him a few times. So
you actually got him 10 times. Sana Jayasuriya is the correct answer. Gale is second with 7 times, and Gilchrist is third with 6 times, and Jayawardene is also third with 6. So pretty hefty names.
They've smacked me around in half as well.
No, but I have a question because the top 3 guys are all left-handers. Did you find it easier to bowl to left-handers?
No, naturally the ball swung in. So if I got it right early with the new ball, I always felt I had a chance. It was always tough against these guys because you got it slightly wrong and
boom.
And there was no escape.
Yeah.
So you rather get them out or then suffer. So
pretty good list, dude. Sanat, Gale, and Gilchrist are your top 3, and Jayawardene is number 4. With all our Gilchrist and Jayawardene 6 times each, Gale 7 times, and Sana Jayasuriya 10 times.
I ended up playing a lot against them. It's but it was fun.
So 2 out of 2, not bad. Number 3, how many man of the match awards did you win in ODI cricket?
5, 6 maybe? 6.
7.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Not bad. 2 are close enough.
Bowlers never won anything.
Bowlers never won.
It's a batter's game.
Okay, this one you should get. So 2 out of 3, not bad. This one you should get. How many first class 100s and first class 50s did you have?
50s I wouldn't know. 100s I think 3.
That is also wrong.
Oh.
4.
4 is it? No.
Yeah. 50s then is 16.
Oh, I didn't count the test 100 of course.
you skipped Lords? That's the one you skipped?
I thought that'll just stay away.
You just wanted me to bring it up.
Oh, 400s is it?
400s and 16 50s.
Oh.
2 out of 4, 50%.
50s was a tough one.
50s okay, 50s I guess, yeah. But centuries I figured you knew.
Thought it was 3 though. I still can't remember the 4th. And
it
was
happened
in Pakistan.
No, I think in Lords. There's a...
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Which country, this you should get now since we've already talked about it a little bit. Which country did you have the most ODI wickets against?
Probably Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Australia probably closest.
I think Zimbabwe was second if I'm not mistaken. And then Australia was third. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but I think.
Played a lot of one day cricket. I played, when I made my test debut, I played one test that year in 98. And I think I played...
That was against Zimbabwe.
Against Zimbabwe. And I played 36 or 38 ODIs that from April to the end of the year.
3 out of 5 so far. Last one. Which stadium did you take the most ODI wickets in?
Oh, impossible this is, man. Which stadium?
I just sneaked this in at the end.
Yeah, this is just impossible. One second. It has to be India somewhere. Oh, it's not. Could be Melbourne.
Sharjah.
Oh, Sharjah.
3 out of 6, 50%, guys. Very, very disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, the tough questions, right?
Actually, few were tough. I'll agree to that. Okay, now I'm just going to shoot out some questions. Tell me your answers as quickly as you can. You mentioned some friends you have in the cricket world who are still your friends outside of the sport. Who are your closest friends from the cricket fraternity?
I hope I don't miss anyone. I've got a few, fortunately. You know, it's. I mean, Sachin's obviously been the biggest influence I've had on my cricket. He was same school, and he's been a friend since. Zaheer, Ashish, Nehra. UV, we hang a lot now. Rohan Gavaskar and Kiran Power are my sort of friends from when we were
kids.
15, I think. Since under 16s, 3 of us used to share a room. Even when Kiran was captain, he used to get a single room. He used to be in our room. So we've spent a lot of time. These generally are, and fortunately all of them are in Mumbai. Like Ashish is the only one who sort of is
not
doesn't live in Mumbai, but otherwise I hope I've not missed somebody.
It's funny you said Rohan Gavaskar. Rohan always described you. I remember him telling me once, he said, the thing about Ajit is he just loves being around the game, right? Just loves being around. When we talked about selection and even commentary and when you were doing all that stuff, he said he just loves. And I know this because you go...
You know Rohan's a sweet talker, right?
Listen, it was a personal call. He was not going to praise you. He would have thrown you under the bus, actually. But since you mentioned Zaheer and Ashish, let me ask you this. If you had one bowler to bowl one over to save your life, would it be Zaheer or would it be Ashish?
Oh, that's just unfair.
I know,
Both are good buddies.
That's why I asked.
Both are good buddies. No, I'm not going to pick that at all. Really competitive guys. I mean, Zach did what he did after his comeback. Came back and became an incredible... He was always supremely talented, but became an incredible test bowler. 300 test wickets. Ashish, super competitive with a broken body. Just the surgeries and the injuries that he went through, and to keep coming back and keep doing, and eventually actually outlasting all of us. Amazingly competitive guys, loyal friends, always there to help. Even when we were playing together, where we were playing, sort of competitors, even if within the team.
So how was that environment? Was it a little bit, I mean, you're also competing for a place in the side.
Yeah, not at all actually, because that, like we spoke before, if you actually enjoy someone else doing well, your team is more often than not going to end up doing well. And these were similar guys. Viru, I forgot actually. I knew I was forgetting somebody. Viru's, actually Viru used my pads when he got his debut 100 in Test cricket. So because at that point, I don't think he was expected to get picked for the Test series. We were playing the one dayers before, and he did really well in the one dayers. And they picked him for the Test, and his pads had not reached. Right. So he used my pads. I keep telling him.
I mean, you were the next Sachin Tendulkar. So.
Yeah, it was an incredible 100 to then that Bloomford.
The debut one, right? Yeah. So you are refusing to answer. No comment on Zaheer Khan or Ashish.
100%.
Okay, fine. The toughest batsman you bowled to?
Ricky Ponting was tough. Matthew Hayden I found difficult just because of his reach. It was tough to bowl to. Arvinda De Silva, I played early in my career. Amazing player. Just could hit good balls for four. Didn't play Test cricket against him, but played a fair amount of one-day cricket, and he was Inzamam ul Haq. Again, just felt like you could bowl good balls and he could whack those good balls when he wanted. Jack Callis, same thing. I just found those guys. Did I say Gilly? No, Gilly again. Adam Gilchrist might have been lucky to get him out a few times, but
6.
Yeah, but he was. Most days you couldn't stop him. He had to get out. You just couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot more, but I think these guys sort of come to mind immediately. Were always tough to bowl to.
Favorite cricket ground to play on?
Adelaide. I mean, MCG Boxing Day Test it's probably the best. Been lucky enough to play twice.
Yeah.
The best sort of event, if you like, and a fantastic ground to be part of. Adelaide just not because I got the wickets in a winning Test match or anything, but even the first time when we toured in 99, 2000, it's just a nice feel to it. You walk through the crowd. I know it's changed a little bit and it's a bit more modern, the stands and all.
Yeah.
But just had a nice feel
nice
to
vibe
it.
To it.
And Chennai in India I quite enjoyed, even though it used to be very hot. It was just something about
the ground that just
because Mumbai, Wankhede and CCI and all played all my life, but I think Adelaide probably would be up there.
One sportsman, dead or alive, that you would like to have dinner with or play a round of golf with?
I mean, golf, of course, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, it's no brainer.
Yeah. I mean, Roger Federer is another one
that
who has been so much fun to watch. Fortunate to watch him, but Tiger Woods. I mean,
Tiger Woods.
Now that I play the sport, how can you
pick anyone else?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, what he did on a golf course.
Yeah, it really is. Favorite Manchester United player of all time?
Roy Keane, maybe.
Really?
Roy Keane. Again, it's a tough one. Scholes, it's Rooney, these guys. But probably Roy Keane. That era when I actually started following United, when they started winning the Premier Leagues,
Yeah.
you know how many they've won, 20. So no, so it's just something inspiring. Just
About him that.
it's great pundits right now. It's enjoyable to watch.
He's actually great to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes got carried away, which was always fun as well.
Rank these athletes on their golfing ability. Kapil Dev,
Yeah,
Leander Pace, Yuvraj Singh, and Ajit Agarkar.
that's the order.
That's the order.
Yeah, I mean, Kapil Paji is.
Wait,
I mean,
wait,
he's
hold on a
sort
sec.
of-
You're telling me that Kapil Dev, Leander Pace, then
Yeah.
Yuvraj Singh, then you?
Yeah, for sure.
There is no way that is the ranking.
You asked me for my ranking.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Look at the safe bet. Well played. Down the middle. Perfect.
It's true.
Perfect answer. Finally,
I
Ajit.
hope Yui watches this.
Yeah,
So I
'cause
don't give him any
We'll send him the link. We'll
Yeah.
cut this portion out and just to send it to
play
him.
of the same handicap. He's better. Simple.
I want to be in that four ball. What? And having said that, I've never even played with him. So
No, he's a good player.
Yeah,
He's a good player.
He hits it a mile, doesn't he?
Like his batting. Maybe further than his batting actually. And he hit a long ball
Hit a
when he
long
was
ball.
batting.
Finally, Ajit, what if you could just give one line of advice to any young aspiring athlete out there trying to make it happen for themselves? What would that advice be?
I don't think there's any substitute to hard work. It doesn't mean senseless work.
Yeah.
But if you don't put in the work, you're unlikely to get something out of it.
Got it. Ajit, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to playing around with you in the coming weeks.
Thank you. It's always nice to see the meanest 4-iron in business.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.